Week 17 in the NFL. For some teams in the league, it's simply a curtain call for the fans. For others, it's the last arduous step before beginning their run at the ultimate prize. In that week, however, it is much more. It is the game that decides who goes home with the glory and who just goes home. And in 2009, the North Hollywood Killers found themselves accomplishing something that they had failed to do since their inaugural season: take home the Walnut. A new season, same goal. This was the mantra of the 2010 North Hollywood Killers. Coming off of a season that brought home the league championship trophy and having championship appearances the 2 previous years, confidence was not lacking in the eyes of team manager Andrew Manise.
Got to bring a bigger gun than the other guy. I think I'm going to beat this guy because I'm better than him and I want it more. I think if he's out pointing me, it should piss me off, and I'm going to be better and I want it more.
Week 1. Summer has settled and fall is upon us, and with it brings the start of a new season. Week 1 was business as usual for the new champs, with a solid draft class that included Andre Johnson, Maurice Jones-Drew, Miles Austin, and quarterback Phillip Rivers. The tone was set for the season. They were ready to defend their title. But titles are like targets, each team becoming that much more focused on winning.
Just wanted the Killers to lose. Simple as that. No one wants the Killers to win this year. We're gunning for them. We're all rooting for them to lose.
None more, perhaps, than the Mar Vista Misfits, a team that took a number 1 seed to the big dance and was upset by the underdog Killers. A matchup much awaited for the Misfits. Leading them on the field, Matt Schaub. It was Schaub who helped defeat them just 9 months earlier. Today, however, he would be called on to make things right. It wouldn't be easy. The Killers' performance was spearheaded by a 3-touchdown, 26-point effort from quarterback Phillip Rivers, and over a 150-yard game by receiver Andre Johnson. In the end, however, it was a combination of Schaub, Frank Gore, and 3 rushing touchdowns from LaShawn McCoy that proved to be the difference. Victory belonged to the Misfits. The Killers got their first taste of defeat. Week 3 provided an opportunity to get back on track. It seemed, however, that quarterback Phillip Rivers was the only one equal to the task. Behind a 28-point performance, his teammates failed to follow suit. Matt Forte, Maurice Jones-Drew, and Andre Johnson combined to score only 17 points. And with powerhouse quarterback Michael Vick proving that his NFL career was far from over, and Adrian Peterson rushing for 2 touchdowns and over 150 yards, the matchup seemed over before it began. The Week 3 loss put the Killers in a position they tried desperately to avoid: a losing record early in the season.
It was just, it's my first time in the league, and you see a guy like that go down the first 2, the 3, and you start to wonder, really. Like, this guy's not going to do it again. And by that time, I was up 3. New guy, up 3. I mean, I can only laugh.
Was it finally happening? I'm just glad someone was taking them down.
The next weeks of the 2010 season were a turbulent time. Wins were not an easy task. Winning games by margins of 7 points or fewer and posting another loss on their record, the Killers were coming into a Week 9 matchup with a team that had embarrassed them in Week 3. Week 9. A chance for redemption against the Northridge powerhouse team that was rolling. Once again, Phillip Rivers responded to the challenge in fine form, posting 32 points on 395 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, and with the powerhouse team failing to score 100 points, victory was within reach. But just like games past, Phillip Rivers' stellar performance would not be enough. With a defense that allowed 41 points on their way to a negative 5-point total, and Rivers outscoring the number 1 tight end, wide receiver, and running back, the Killers would end the week with another loss, and an unimpressive 5-4 record.
We can talk about all the reasons why we've lost those games. We're making mistakes. We got to get them straightened out and keep grinding, or it'll get away from us.
Finally, his run's over. He was 1-3 for the first time since I could remember, and I was stoked.
The Week 9 loss, however, seemed to serve as a wake-up call to the Killers, who were still determined to defend their crown as champions. In Week 10, not only did they win, but in doing so, seemed to find their championship stride that had defined them in seasons past. Finishing the season with 4 wins, beating teams by an average of 33 points, the Killers were making a statement. The road goes through us.
Don't get frustrated. Come on, dog. You know I'm going to tear your ass up. You know that.
Week 1 of the playoffs wasn't to be any different. Facing the Mar Vista Misfits, the Killers were focused. Led by yet another inspired 3-touchdown performance by Rivers and aided by a 21-point performance by their defense, the Killers glided to victory, ending the Misfits season for the second year in a row. More importantly, sending themselves to their final destination, the championship. With their 9-5 record, the Killers found themselves with a number 1 seed in the championship game for the 3rd consecutive year. This year, they faced a 3rd-ranked opponent who seemed to have their number. Beating them twice in the regular season, the Powerhouse were confident. Led by a quarterback who accounted for 21 touchdowns to the air and another 9 rushing touchdowns in only 12 games, victory would not be an easy task. Additionally, the Powerhouse were averaging more points at nearly every position than the Killers. Manise would need something his team had lacked earlier in the season: a supporting cast.
Had to hold the breath till the very end. Rivers, open. Jackson drops it, and Polamalu.
The game got off to an ominous start for the Killers. Rivers, the player that had been one of the only consistent performers all year, threw for only 1 touchdown and threw an interception on his way to a mere 13 points. While Michael Vick stayed true to form, throwing for a touchdown and rushing for 1 more, putting his point total for the game at 21. Running back performance was an area in which the teams went tit for tat, and with kicking and special teams proving to be an equal match, it would come down to the wide receivers. The Powerhouse took a risk, starting 5 wide receivers, the belief that their point total would bury the Killers. In reality, the 5 receivers would total a combined 11 points. It would come down to the play of Miles Austin and Mike Williams. The receiving duo answered the call, combining for over 200 yards through the air and 3 receiving touchdowns in a season marked by amazing individual performance. In the end, it was a team effort that would lead them to their ultimate goal. 102-65. The 2010 Killers were champions.